All right, what's happening, Don? Back with another episode of the MMA Lockdown podcast. I think this is number three, and we're on day number five of the lockdown. Number four, number five. I can't even keep track. I don't want to keep track. I just want it to be over.
Yeah, I think day five of the South African lockdown, day
Yeah,
8 or 9 of the UK lockdown, I think.
the UK lockdown. What's happening with Boris? I saw that he tested positive. Is he quiet now?
Yeah, I think he's I don't know if he actually did his sort of daily update yesterday, so he might be struggling with some symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
a few weeks ago.
yeah, no, tough times.
Yeah, he was boasting a few weeks ago about how he was shaking everyone's hands, and that's what happens.
Yeah. No comments. No comment on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Don, so as I mentioned in the first episode, like one of the things I was worried about with the Tony and Khabib fight is that there's just certain things that are like out of Dana's control. And it seems like that is now playing out with Khabib stuck in Russia, which has now thrown everything kind of into disarray. Um, I'm not sure where Khabib was before he was in Russia, probably somewhere in the US. So I'm not sure why he decided to travel back to Russia, but have you seen anything?
Well, I heard or read that Dana had essentially said to him, look, this fight's not happening in the US, and had given him the rubber stamp to go to Russia. So, Dana was talking about these, like we said on the last episode, talking to Mike Tyson about these different venues that he had in mind and he wasn't going to disclose any yet. I suspect they were all outside the US. Maybe one of them was Russia. We don't know. And it's quite crazy. It's almost like this double curse on the fight. At first, Corona hits, and Dana's like, "I'll do anything to keep it together." And then, by his own sort of decision, potentially, he puts the final nail in the fight by telling Khabib it's cool to leave the states, and then he and Tony get stuck outside. Tony and Khabib should have been quarantining together. They should have rented a house and shacked
That
up.
would have made for some great reality TV.
A good season of the Ultimate Fighter, Tony and Khabib in a house together. But that would have been the safest way to do it. Now it seems
For
impossible
sure.
now.
Yeah, so now it's all falling apart. And with that happening, we're seeing obviously some fighters jumping up and saying, hey, I'll take the fight, even though it's not adequate notice. It's, what an opportunity to take this fight, save the card. We're seeing guys like obviously Gaethje throwing up his hand. I even saw Dustin Poirier say, it's, as I just said, not adequate time to train for a fight like that, but he would take it. So yeah, I mean, there is options, but the thing is, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want to see Khabib fight anyone else other than Tony at this point. I mean, what happens if Tony takes Gaethje or Dustin and then he gets injured, and then it's Ramadan for Khabib and Tony's recovering, and then this fight's postponed for another year?
Yeah. Or what happens if Tony takes Gaethje and loses? And then you've got this issue of, everyone wants to see the fight because for all intents and purposes, you're dealing with two undefeated fighters. Tony
Exactly.
lost before in his career, but it's essentially a lifetime ago in mixed martial arts terms. So it
Yeah. I
feels like
think what's his win streak at right now? I don't know off the top of my head, like
10
13.
or 11, or maybe more, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
like a decade's worth. And
Yeah.
but you just look at this fight and you feel like if one of them were to lose, the fight just doesn't have the same appeal. And then you make it for the sixth time and it happens, but whatever. And I don't know what
Right.
to feel, but Gaethje's got a shot against anyone. There's nothing.
Definitely. I mean, I saw that highlight knockout that he had of Barboza. They were showing it on social media today just because obviously he's in the mix now. And man, it was brutal. Looked like Barboza was like getting dragged into that kind of brawl. And then just, man, Gaethje threw some haymakers and knocked him out. But that's also, I think, how Dustin Poirier managed to beat him, is not get, dragged into that kind of brawl and just stay on the outside and pick him apart.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a little bit sidetracked. But I mean, out of Justin and Dustin, who would you like to see fight Tony if we had to pick one? Sorry, Don, the light coming in from your window is it's creating quite a bad glare.
How's that?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, so I think Justin or it's a tough one. Justin or Dustin. I didn't think of that until now.
Yeah,
For me, like I want to see Gaethje in the mix, but I also want to see McGregor's next fight be against Gaethje. You know,
yeah, true.
that's another one. You know, Connor's not going to try and get out of Ireland right now. He's not going to fight for the time being. He's been very vocal about respecting lockdown and you know, he's been sort of one for taking coronavirus very seriously. Good on him for that one. He's not always got the best record for being a responsible citizen, so
For sure,
it is due, I suppose. So I don't know, man. A big part of me feels like why not just like let it go? You know, it was about making
postpone it.
happen. Postpone it.
100%. That's why I agree.
Yeah, and don't save the card. Whatever. We all suffering without sports. We'll miss one more. That's kind of how I feel.
Exactly. I mean, I respect Dana trying to make things happen, but I feel like unless it is Tony Khabib, just postpone it. But then again, I saw we were discussing earlier in the day. We shared a tweet of Usman and Masvidal saying, "Hey, well, let's be the main event for 249." Yeah. So I would take that over nothing. But is that feasible? Also, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's a fight also that must happen. But can it happen now? Can you put a short notice fight together?
Yeah.
Conditions. And also, both of those guys are accusing each other of saying no to the fights. One of those situations.
Back and forth, yeah. I mean, who do you see winning that fight? I mean, who do you give the edge if in the Masvidal-Usman fight?
I think I mean, those are two brilliant fighters, and I haven't given it too much thought, but I think Usman at the moment is very, very hard to beat. You know, Masvidal.
The crotch sniffer, though.
He's a crotch sniffer, yeah. We haven't really seen, Masvidal, we haven't seen him fight a great crotch sniffer for more than, 5 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
But we don't really
have to look at his... Yeah, I'd have to look at his record and see exactly who he's fought. But I mean, yeah, Askren didn't get any crotch sniffing time on Masvidal, so... Yeah. I mean, Usman is just such an athlete. I mean, he's powerful. You know, he's got the cardio we saw against Colby. But man, I love Masvidal. I love his story. I love how long he's been around. He's like one of those true fighters. You know, sometimes guys talk about, you know, guys are either athletes and then all they're fighters. And I just feel like Masvidal is that true fighter at heart. And that would be a war. Right now, I'm not sure who I would pick. I'd have to go back and watch some fights and see. But that would be, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, it would be a war. And I kind of feel the same way about Masvidal. But just the realist in me, even though I kind of want to see him win that fight, the realist in me is like, I don't know who beats Usman right now. And you know, Usman and Colby kind of nullified each other's wrestling. But I think with Masvidal, we're going to see Usman try to take the fight to the ground as much as possible.
Yeah, you got to be thinking that Usman's going to be thinking about that knee for sure. So it'll be interesting.
So proceed with care. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I guess we are left up in the air for a little bit until this kind of, you know, they can figure things out. I don't know. As I say, every day things are changing all over the world with COVID. So that was my worry. What I said, as I previously said in episode 1, it's like, even if they set up a fight, Dana gets a location, say he gets a location in the UAE somewhere, in Dubai. I mean, what's stopping there for being a lockdown in 2 weeks? I mean, April 18th is what? It's like, it's more than 2 weeks away. At this point, every day things are changing.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
So
it used to be send me location was enough, but we're in a different world. Got to send.
Now they're just running from Corona stats, basically trying to find somewhere that's got the least Corona stats that isn't on lockdown. But
Yeah,
Everywhere is on lockdown.
least stats or most denial. Apparently, Belarus. I read yesterday that
Yeah.
the president or the prime minister of Belarus is like, nothing is cancelled, everything is cool. So maybe Belarus is a last resort, but getting everyone there is a different story.
Yeah. Well, the most important thing is Khabib's there. So if they can get Tony there, they don't need too many other people.
Yeah. Crazy
Yeah,
time.
Donnie, crazy. I mean, we'll keep up to date. We'll keep an eye on the news, see what's happening. And yeah, let's hopefully make it happen. I do feel strongly if it's not Khabib, Tony, it should just be postponed until they can make it happen. If they can full 249 with Masvidal and Usman, awesome. But if not, I'd rather not see Tony Gaethje, to be honest. I want to see Gaethje Conor, Tony Khabib, let it play out how it should. And but before we wrap up, what do you think of that the Conor Gaethje fight? I mean, that's an interesting fight.
It's one of those fights where, like, it's going to be the same thing as like before the Cerrone fight, and everyone was like the McGregor Cerrone fight, and everyone was like,
Yeah.
hey, Cowboy, are you going to take him down? Are you going to take him down? Everyone says his weakness is on the ground. You got to take him down. And Cowboy was like, you come take him down. Like, what do you think? It's easy to take this guy down. Like, he's trained takedown defense his whole career. Like, his takedown defense against Khabib is not that bad. It's just that Khabib is who he is.
Right.
So
next level.
it's going to be a similar thing where, like, the question is, one, does Gaethje want to use his wrestling? Because as good as his wrestling apparently is in his wrestling days, he doesn't generally use, wants to stand. And two, if he does want to use his wrestling, can he get there? So I think if it's a standing fight, and Conor's the same Conor of the sort of Eddie Alvarez days, it's Conor's fight, I think.
Right.
Because if you look at how as good as Gaethje is and as durable as he is, if you look at like Alvarez McGregor and Alvarez Gaethje, it's a different class of stand-up,
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree with that. So yeah, let's watch how it plays out. Also, I don't know how much conflict of interest there is with Khabib and Gaethje having the same management with Ali. So I don't know. Obviously, if they make the Gaethje fight, I don't know how much that screws Khabib, but obviously, they run a professional operation there and they'll do what's best for their fighters. So
yeah, because Gaethje, I think, often talks about how he'd like a shot at Khabib.
Right.
Like you said, they're the same management, and then Khabib seems to want Tony and George St. Pierre if he can get it, and then to look into the sunset unless someone pays him $1 gazillion to fight McGregor again.
Yeah. So let's see what happens with that. And in the meantime, Don, have you been watching any cool? A lot of the BJJ instructors have been putting out some free material. Are there any particular videos that you've seen lately that you've really liked, or?
I've been watching Bernardo Faria's pressure passing stuff.
It's a huge honor.
It's a huge honor.
His stuff's awesome.
Yeah, his stuff's awesome. He's such a cool guy, and he basically gave one of his instructionals away for free for the Corona times we're in. So I got the pressure passing one. And it's very, very cool, but it's always like you got to really like watch it. I'm writing notes and I'm thinking like, how much of this am I actually absorbing without drilling it?
Yeah, it's tough. So often I'll see like even a 3-minute YouTube clip of a move, and I play it over and over, and then I play it in my mind, and then the next day I'm at the academy and I like ask a mate, hey, can I try something on you? And then I'm like, fuck, like I can't even remember how to do it. It's so different. It's
Exactly.
So.
And then you add another, make that 100 moves, and you haven't told one of them.
Exactly. Yeah. I saw Henzo actually put out an awesome hour-long DVD, or not DVD, or just YouTube video. A lot of nice little details. He was one thing I really liked was he was showing something with the X choke. And it's something that I often do is I don't put my hand into the lapel or into the gi deep enough. And he was saying the hand that slides into the gi must almost go all the way to the label of the gi.
Okay, like right.
And then it makes it right behind. And then obviously it makes that when the overhand, when you go for the choke, makes it a lot tighter, obviously. So that was like a really nice detail that I picked up. I'm always looking for like simple, basic stuff that I'm already doing, but like needs improvement. And I thought that was a great little tip. Just get that hand that's sliding in the lapel deeper behind the neck or by the lapel label.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So,
All right, Don. Well, that was fun.
yeah.
Anything you want to finish up with?
No, man, I think we've been every time we do an episode, we're like, well, we might not have much news the next few days because there's no sport, and then John Jones drives drunk or someone gets stuck in Russia, and so things keep flowing.
Yeah.
We'll chat tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, we could do this every day.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Don. All right, and thanks to all our listeners out there. Hope our base is growing and we're putting out the content that you guys like to listen to. And we'll be back very soon with episode 4 of the MMA Lockdown podcast. All right, Don, take care there in London. Chat to you soon. Oos.
Nice.